I just told Hakeem that I drove all day today to the part of the country that my fiance's family is from, and I'm going to be meeting the two tribes, which I am semi-intimidated about, not because they're not all like brilliant and chill people, but because I've never honestly seen a boomer out in the wild like meet someone new. They already have their like established circles, and they interact based on that. Yeah, so I don't know how they're going to be like, my parents are divorced, so they're meeting with the dad. How they're going to like, oh, hi. So our two idiots, they like each other, I guess, which is a great jumping off point, I think. I'll just sit on the side and try not to die of awkward. I'm trying not to say die of cringe, because it's not going to be cringe. It's going to be
go great,
beautiful
Habibi. I was look. Every time when boomers get together, they find the commonality between them, and then they'll just vibe. It can be something stupid. It's going to be some like Yugo nostalgia, possibly, or maybe ethnic rivalry that they'll mutually.
That could be interesting. Because they're different ethnicities. Or they can be like, like, were you in the army back in the day? Yes, of course. Which detachment? This detachment. And
exactly.
So
do you know
how
this
many
and
did
this?
you manage? Oh, I did 17. 17? Bro, fucking rookie numbers. And then you realize your parents are fucking, I don't know, intelligence officers right on that table without ever having known before. Looking forward to that. It's going to be fun. It's going to be some good food involved.
Dude, this reminds me of very... sometimes you say things and then I just get this like a memory, like a blip of memory. Yeah, that I completely
just did a deja vu on me. You saying that did a deja vu on me, which I'm piling on the mysticism.
Memory peg it. What I was gonna say was because my father was military, and a lot of other people in my family were and are by extension military. But one time we were in a third country, let's say, and this is a country that was a popular destination for. After the Egyptian Revolution of 2011, right, former people of that government who escaped fled to this other country, and we happened to be there. And my dad was sitting with a bunch of people and just chatting, and one man in the distance basically was just standing like by an ATM basically. My dad is just staring at him, but my dad's lost in thought. He's not actually staring at the man; he's just staring out into space. But this man notices, and through a chain of events, basically, my dad had looked at him at 2 or 3 different other instances when we were in the square. At the end, the man just walks up to my dad and is like, "Are you with the special, like, people who are supposed to look after or like go after these people who escaped justice, quote unquote?"
Oh my God.
And he was like, his nerves were so stretched that he was like, "Just take me." It's okay. Yeah, he was like, "It's okay. Like, and you've been staring. I know. I've been stressed." And apparently he had gotten some sort of tip off earlier in that week that, oh yeah, people are going to be coming after you. So he thought my dad was the guy sent.
Oh my God.
To go after him. So, and he gave up. He was like, "Just take him." My dad was like, "Chill, my guy. It's not like that."
I have murdered you with my gaze.
Yeah, exactly right. He was like, "Yeah, the mukhabarat gaze."
Yeah. Because I was like, that's either like the worst agent of all time, like you have a target, but you're staring him down to like 10 times until he notices, or he is so advanced that he can neutralize a target's, support for whatever ideology and complete giving up simply through the Hakeem gaze. Okay,
exactly right.
That you inherited, but yours is more romantic. Okay,
Yeah,
you give a look and it's immediately boom. I'm wet. I'm down.
Exactly. Right. Loving and longing. You please tell me about what was the memory peg you got? What was the deja vu?
Oh no, the deja vu was literally what we're experiencing right now. It might not be deja vu. It might actually be you having said this in one of the previous episodes, out of which at this point we have many. I don't know if the audience ever notices, but once you've done probably at this point is like over 400 hours, so at least over 350 hours worth of this fantastic show. There is a slight what phrase should I use? Slight fear that whatever you're talking about right now, you, especially in these segments, you've already covered. Because at this point, I feel like listeners know us better than our own fucking mothers. So because we have shared things with these fucking unhinged people that listen to us that we never would with actual
Somebody
family
has a psychological
members.
profile on all of us. Me, you, and JT. They're like,
psychological imbalance profile.
He experienced
probably.
this sort of trauma.
Have you ever done one of those? I mean, they forced us in the corporate world. I think it's like a quasi-science. I might hurt some people's feelings in chat because a lot of people put a lot of weight on these psychographs that you can do on these websites, and they're like, it's their replacement zodiac sign. They're zodiac signs are for stupid people. I'm super smart, so I'm going to do another type of zodiac sign.
Another type of stupidity.
that I got through a test, right?
Another kind of idol worship.
Oh God.
Oh my God, yeah.
So did you ever do one of those? What was your profile? I can't remember
no
what my
idea.
profile. Mine was something deeply offending and at the same time complimenting, which I think all of these do. That joke when your partner tells you have the biggest dick out of all of your best friends, and you're like, whoa. I mean, thank you. Whoa, wait, what? So this one was basically told me that I can't do shit, but I'm really good at making other people do shit. I'm like, are you calling me incapable and lazy while at the same time telling me that I am
organizational mastermind?
Which is fucking,
doesn't clean his foreskin. What was what is the point of these stupid tests? It's always like masturbatory, Einstein was like this. You are a creative thinker.
And they always give you like a famous person so you can cope as much as possible.
Right.
Look, they were successful.
Winston Churchill was like
your character.
He whimsically starved the
Hitler.
Bangladeshis. My God,
Hey, you are literally Adolf Hitler, bro. Your test is 1-to-1. We did it on him. We revived Adolf Hitler in order to get this test done. Oh God.
My favorite thing. Speaking of Hitler, there's been the AI voice. Modulation thing where you can basically make them say whatever you want.
Yeah, of course.
It's been a meme for like a year now or a bit longer. But the Arab memes about this are so fucking funny. And my favorite one, and it's kind of going around now, that you do these like Shiite latmayat, like these nasheed, these songs which are spoken word, usually with just drums and nothing else. That sing basically about what happened at Karbala or with the death of grandson of the Prophet and stuff like that. These very important religious events, specifically for Shiites, but all Muslims generally. But there are these songs that are relevant to this, but they make like
them in Hitler's sound.
Hitler or like what? Trump or fucking SpongeBob. I don't know. It's just so It's so fucking funny to me.
The other day, literally not the other day, but like 5 months ago, my dad sent me a TikTok video with literally, is this true ? Because I tell him, you get lied to on the internet very often. So if something sounds insane, please send it to me. And he sent me 2 different videos. And so he sent me 2 videos and he said, which one is true? He didn't even ask me, is it true? And there's 2 AI videos. One where a lady says that Elon Musk is actually a converted Bosniak, and that we are brilliant people made the smartest man on planet Earth. And of course, there's a Serbian version where it's Elon Musk, which comes from Elon Muskovic, which comes from Elon Mičić. And Elon is just Ivan, but adapted to the South African context or some shit. And I was like, Dad, neither of them are true. And also that is a good thing because we do not want to be associated to Elon Musk, okay? We've already spawned enough shit for the world. We don't want that one in our rooster next to I don't fucking know, Nikola Tesla, right?
Yeah. Who was well known to be Croatian.
whatever I say now, I ruin my ethnic anonymity.
Exactly right.
In the name of Yugoslavian unity. So
Exactly
I'll pretend to be neutral on this particular point, even though on this very particular one I'm very ethno-nationalist.
Of
Okay,
course, yeah, I love it.
like very.
Tesla was like a Tito, okay? TT, all right. Both of them were the Yugoslav archetype.
100, but depending on the perspective, same like Tito, I guess. Nikola Tesla is either one of the most brilliant minds of all time, or the man who brought about the expansion of the industrial revolution, and therefore the slow grinding and decay of the human experience, now completely melted together with machine, blah blah blah. Yes, man made electricity go woo, and actually Wi-Fi to an extent. Imagine thinking up Wi-Fi before internet exists, being like, we can send it in beams. Imagine the way the room would fucking look at you, like rightfully. Beams? The fuck, bro? To this day, it takes him, like my grandpa turns off his Wi-Fi router before going to bed because it's irradiating him.
People, basic education, ionizing versus non-ionizing radiation. People really need. Yeah, I mean, also, but
he's
boomers.
Very healthy though, so it might be working.
But boomers won't believe. Like, there's certain things. You can be the most highly educated boomer in the world, and then they're gonna have some fucking stupid out there belief. Dude, I have some of these beliefs. Dude, I'm a medical professional. I'm a doctor. To this day, I think, you know what? If a cold breeze hits your tummy, you're gonna get diarrhea. So you need to cover up. You need to keep the tummy warm. There's no fucking correlation.
That literally happened to me today. I was sitting in the car. It was blowing in my belly, and I'm pissing out my ass
exactly
right now.
Exactly right. Yeah. See, there you go. Yeah.
As I was saying that, the light in the other room turned on, and now when I go see what the fiance is up to, she's probably gonna give me like 3 pills of that coal shit. Does that coal shit work? Everybody swears on that coal shit here.
Activated charcoal is is good treatment, but it has specific use cases. It doesn't prevent diarrhea. What it does is, if you have certain noxious agents or
poison, stuff like that.
Or what's it called? Bacterial toxins specifically that cause diarrhea, then the activated charcoal will bind it. What's better is for you to get these like matrix gels, like Enterogel, which is a Soviet invention, absolutely brilliant, microsilicate or something like that. And it binds this stuff way better than anything else. If you have diarrhea because of what's it called? You ate something bad, for example, it works a treat. So that is my PSA.
And does it work? Does it work on? But not on. You're gonna hate me for even asking this question.
Sure, right
I'm already hearing the bismillah. Like hangovers, to get some of the processed toxic alcohols. It's not gonna stop the hangover, but to help get it out quicker so it doesn't.
No, not the same way. First of all, because alcohol is processed because it's fluid, right? So it gets absorbed much more quickly. And second of all, the reason that alcohol affects you in that way is because there is alcohol that gets absorbed into your bloodstream, and when it gets absorbed into your bloodstream, it quickly overwhelms the ability for your enzymes in your liver to process it. That's why you stay drunk for a while and whatnot, until your liver can process all of it. So it's better to either somehow get something that absorbs or slows down the absorption of alcohol.
But that's to limit getting drunk.
Yeah.
We want to get drunk on the next day to get the toxins, whatever, taken care of. But no, it's already processed by the liver, so it makes no sense.
Yeah. No, there's no sense. All you can do is hydrate, take a paracetamol, and don't drink to the point that you get that like that. This is the as charitable as I can get to you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm taking it. Stop talking. I am taking it. Thank you very much. I love you very much. Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the Deprogram. Today, we are coming back with the most original show on planet Earth. Planet show, Earth show. Is all of life a show? Do you really exist if nobody can see you?
It's the next
I am now a voice. JT is not here. and that's why we're not recording video form. So if you're only hearing audio...
The reason that JT isn't here is because he was working on a rainy and thunderous night. He was working on his Volvo, and he didn't turn on the light, and what ended up happening is he got zapped between the two ends of the car battery, and he then became part of the Volvo. So right now he's... Oh no! He became the pipe that brings the brake fluid. Where the fuck? I don't know shit about cars.
Cue the Transformers. Something like where the main guy says Transformers get together, or what the fuck did he say? The big truck guy. The truck guy. Cue that, JT, please. Or leave me asking you to cue it.
Oh my god.
I will love, as always. This motherfucker never censors me, I swear to God. But yeah, another Send News today, very, very America biased, but we've got a lot of interesting things
I mean, for
coming
once,
to
something
us.
actually happened that's worth talking about, to warn the American-centeredness. Otherwise, it's always pointless to be American-centric, but...
Absolutely. Another bad thing. Okay, we have a good thing. We'll talk about how good it is, blah, blah, blah. Potentially even cope ourselves, but then criticize some of the hardcore cope, etc., etc. But that's for the other 2/3 of today's show.
Yes.
What just got passed literally 1 hour before we started recording, and it's going to be very fresh because the episode is literally coming out tomorrow, is every American is now going to be forced to have a BBL.
Absolutely.
Is this good? Is
no.
this bad?
The African Americans have taken over. No.
That was maybe racist.
No, I mean the idea that
not only black people get BBLs.
No. That's not what I'm getting at. My point being is that certain white people want to look like certain white ladies want to look like black ladies.
Okay.
So then they go and they do the operations thinking that all black ladies look like that. It's phenotypic. It's a joke about stereotyping of
I know. I just wanted to make the situation awkward because your reaction is always incredible, especially when he's doing an explanation on why he's not being racist, which rarely happens here on this show.
I'm the most racist man on. Do you know my wrote to me the other day and he was like, oh yeah, I saw this and this, and he gives a very detailed racial description of something, and then he was like, oh Hakeem, can I borrow your skull measuring thing?
Oh god, dude, I literally got tagged. Somebody made a post on Twitter which was who do you know that is really knowledgeable about race science but is not a racist? And the post had like 1,200 likes, and somebody added me underneath it. And my name had like 500 likes. What the fuck? Like, what the am I the fucking race science guy? Though I kind of shoot myself in the head. I have a literal video titled "Would You Survive Nazi Germany?" So I see it. I will never get back all of those wasted gray cells of exploring the mind of a racist, because it's like exploring a literal sewer system. There's no thought there. It's just shit flowing.
No,
on top
these
of shit.
inferior people. We can. We need to stay away from them. But also, I want to fuck them. No.
The curls.
Oh my gosh! Why does it make my pee hard? No. I love that JT isn't here so he can be fucking stupid.
100%. Oh yeah, like he's the fucking stabilizing voice.
I will say this. I will die on this hill. When you see, I mean, I'm not going to say when you see JT, everybody knows what JT looks like, but when you see the way he dresses, especially on vacation, when he has that sexy hat and he does his fucking hair all curly and gorgeous, those like wet curls that he does, he looks like he... there must be a word for a white man that only goes after black women. I'm probably
oh
missing
my god!
This, but he strikes me as like, oh, I need to go to the motherland. He only goes after the thickest black women. That's his vibe, god. Genuinely.
Oh Lord!
His vibe is of what is it called? There must be a word for this.
I don't know, a chaser or something.
I don't know. The only term that comes... Okay, I guess this is the racism episode. I do not condone the usage of this term, and it is very racist, but the term is jungle fever. I believe that is what it is called.
Oh, son of a bitch.
JT has jungle fever.
Nowadays, people can't even just have taste in something. It's a fever. God damn it.
It's a disgusting terminology, of course. JT, feel free to censor whatever you need to salvage the podcast.
No. This This is what different, because I sometimes have people. We're just going off now. We're gonna start the serious segment.
Sure,
I promise. I have people unironically sometimes hit me up, and they're like, "I absolutely love your show, but a lot of people that I sent it to can't watch it because you guys are too unserious." That's the point. That's what makes our show a little bit different than all of the other absolutely brilliant and great but straight academic and very serious. Hello, Comrade Hakim. How are you today? Are we doing everything we can to
Everything for the movement.
to push revolution forward? You know, all great shows. I'm not undermining them in any way, but they are academic. We are what I like to call the shit bag, not the dirt bag. We are worse, the shit bag left. Okay, we utilize all the stereotypically bro bullshit because that's who we are at the end of the day. But we direct it into something actually progressive, which I genuinely enjoy.
Absolutely, and that's the number one. And number two, the point of this is for us to also have fun making this, man. If you want academic stuff, look, JT does beautifully academic work. Hugo's videos are fabulous, fantastic, beautifully rendered, thoughtfully delivered. My videos are just fucking essays being spoken at you, essentially. Like, we make enough of this shit. First on is more of the, let us just have a, relaxing, hang.
Like hanging,
and break the leftist stereotype of, you know what, now is the meeting, everybody put your fucking phones in the Faraday box. Right?
Your terminology offends me, sir. How dare you imply BBLs?
I can tell you haven't read Bordiga.
Fucking legend. I love this episode so much. This is OGD program. This is so good. But okay, jokes aside, an extremely serious thing happened. I'm about to do a 180. The BBLB or the BBB, the big beautiful bill. The big booty bill, which is everyone in the States pretty worried at the moment that just passed. The plan, framed as economic revitalization, would exacerbate budget deficits while disproportionately benefiting the wealthiest of the wealthiest of the wealthiest Americans, continuing the trend set by the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. So what are we looking at here exactly? Well, that's quite the story. The cornerstone of the proposal is making the TCJA, that's how I'm going to refer to the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act from now on. It's making the TCJA's temporary corporate tax reductions permanent. The 2017 law slashed the corporate tax rate from 35 to 21%, and the new plan aims to lock in this rate while exploring further cuts. Large corporations and shareholders would reap the greatest rewards, as evidenced by the post-TCJA surge in stock buybacks. $1 trillion in 2018 alone, rather than wage growth or any sort of investment. TLDR, this is capital generating capital without having to reproduce itself as a commodity or something. It's just money making money. So the GOP seeks to abolish the federal estate tax, which currently affects only the wealthiest 0.1% of households with estates over $13 million per individual. This would allow dynastic wealth, obviously, to accumulate untaxed across generations. The plan expands deductions for pass-through businesses like LLCs and hedge funds, a provision that primarily benefits high-earning capitalists. The proposal includes measures to eliminate the alternative minimum tax, which ensures wealthy individuals pay a baseline rate, roll back IRS funding for auditing high-income tax evaders, effectively enabling tax avoidance, cap or repeal state and local tax deductions, disproportionately harming blue state middle-income families. The plan is a repeat cum-stained masturbation of the long-debunked Reaganomics theory that corporate tax cuts stimulate broad economic growth. Historical data, obviously, for anybody listening to this, shows that the TCJA's benefits flowed overwhelmingly, almost exclusively to shareholders. Corporate profits surged post-2017, but worker wages stagnated relative to inflation. Republicans, who routinely decry national debt, prioritize tax cuts over fiscal responsibility. The TCJA added $1.9 trillion to the deficit, and the 2025 plan would deepen this shortfall, potentially justifying future austerity cuts to Social Security, Medicare, like hardcore on Medicare, and Medicaid, also very, very fucking hardcore. Keep in mind, in the first 3 to 4 months of the Trump administration with the Doge and everything, the ideological push was we are fiscally rational and we need to cut just how much of our country is based on debt. It has even led to certain very, very pathetic infighting between Elon and Trump, where it was only a matter of time before Trump, that happened literally yesterday, was going to say, go back to your country, which he basically implied, and even said that, the Doge that Elon himself made together with Trump could be utilized against Elon himself because he's quote unquote, he didn't say that, but he implied that he's also basically a welfare recipient of the United States government, which is a weird materialist analysis from our big orange boy. But yeah, things get fucking much worse because a lot of you might be sitting back, and even some legislators, I think, and even some senators, even in the Republican Party, that, didn't vote for this immediately, probably asked a very realistic question. You can still be a demon, but still ask this question. People are going to notice, in the next 5 to 10 years, people are going to notice that they're going broke faster than ever, that public goods and services are eroding faster than ever, and they're going to start developing what, we here like to call class consciousness. They're going to start being asking the questions of are my representatives actually representing me? Why are the rich getting even richer at even faster paces? Very clear cut, late stage capitalism, blah, 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 terminology. So, they might do something about it. Well, that question is pretty much answered by this bill as well, because it includes plans to detain and deport millions of undocumented immigrants using military and local law enforcement, effectively end asylum by raising standards and mandating detention during processing. It expands Trump's wall and deploys more troops, and gives ICE and U.S. border control a budget bigger than any other country's army except China's. It's $175 billion US. Yes, the plan is 175 billion USD for ICE and border police. I don't think the Gestapo had that big of a percentage of the Reich spy. That's how serious we're talking. So how does that link back to my, the fucking peasants are going to notice, the king literally sitting with his feudal lords. The peasants are going to notice, which I feel like tenfold moment or whatever, but that was the main argument. It was not true believers in free market or whatever, how they pitched it, the Republicans that were initially against this plan. Their question was, unironically, the peasants will notice. What the fuck do we do when they notice and they come out with the pitchforks? Well, through this part of the plan, the answer is very simple. We're going to fully agitate the local population to continue blaming absolutely everything on so-called foreigners. The potential offset, if this goes fully through, of money lost by capitalists who will no longer have the incredibly important underpaid labor force that is represented by legal and illegal immigrants, is going to be offset with the detention centers where they will pretty much be potentially forced to work borderline free, aka, fucking concentration camps, quite literally. And a lot of these motherfuckers with these complaints, just as I know people cringe at making parallels to the Reich immediately, but you unironically hire them into the quote unquote people's police. This budget for ICE will employ a shit ton of fucking basically racists to push through not only this ideological, doubling down, but also the ability for this ideological doubling down to be put into effect. So cheap to borderline free labor, all of the problems that are rising from the BBB are going to be blamed on this or that form of unwanted population. And we will see, just like Every fucking communist from the beginning of fucking time has said at some point the market quote unquote degrades, and it says, why the fuck am I giving them reforms? Why the fuck am I giving them breadcrumbs? Why the fuck am I doing any of this when I can use the boot? And this bill, very wisely from a reactionary perspective, right, addresses that very well. We will invest more in the boot because long term we'll make more money even though we spend some on the boot than by giving them breadcrumbs. The cycles of capitalism, blah blah blah. Most of you at this point should know this. If you do not, go back to some earlier episodes and you can readdress the what do you call it, the reading, as beautiful Hakeem likes to say. The US already exhibits extreme wealth concentration. To remind you, the top 1% holds 38% of wealth. Further tax cuts would widen this gap into a canyon. Yeah. Deficit growth could become a pretext for slashing the social safety net. I mean, it will. It definitely will. For example, GOP budgets have repeatedly targeted Medicaid and food stamps to offset tax cuts. You should read this as austerity. Like expected, through austerity or austerity-light policies, everyday Joes will either have to foot the bill, get deported, or see public services, which are already scarce in the United States, go away completely. So to finish off the rant, TLDR, late-stage capitalism regressing and taking back all benefits it gave during its reformist eras. Gradual, now pretty speedy, no longer gradual to be honest, creation of civil and military formations built from the ground up to physically protect the status quo and offshore the inevitable instability caused by said market regression to immigrant, minority, and so on other categories of people. With the now developed ability, obviously, that is key. They're developing the physical ability to, which they've been experimenting on for a while, to detain, kick out, or even, God forbid, exterminate. The gloves are coming off. At least they're trying to get them off for now. My cope is they're pretty fucking stupid as shit. Like to pull this off logistically, that's my cope. I don't think they have the brains and they do have the soul.
They're gonna terrorize a lot, and they're not gonna get anywhere with this, man. It's too far gone. The policies that they're trying to do will fundamentally undermine the benefits that capital gain from the existence, for example, of let's take the illegal immigrant thing, by the way. What the fuck is even an illegal immigrant, honestly? I mean, if you live in the States, if you came, quote unquote, illegally, what the fuck? You live in the States, you work for dog shit wages, you pay taxes on everything you purchase, right? And the wages that you're paid by illegal, employers are far below any national, legal limit. And they don't pay wages, they don't pay taxes on the fucking money they give you, surely, or very little, if any at all. So you're directly contributing to the development of the country. You're providing significant amounts of labor for basically almost free, right? You contribute to the economic existence of the country through not using any of its public services or very few of them. Meanwhile, you have to engage in regular purchase of whatever the fuck, right? You purchase healthcare when you need it, you purchase groceries and shit like that, directly contributing to these communities. And also, because you know you're illegal and you don't want to get into any sort of contact with the law because it's going to get you deported, you try your best to avoid doing any sort of crime, right? At the end of the day, this is a stupid fucking... To try to get these people out by all the mythology that they talk about, they eat the fucking dogs, whatever, right? They're eating the dogs. It's so pointless, and it's used more, I think, as a sense of intimidation and as well as a benefit to certain reactionary political forces in the States. Of course, there's a material base to all of this, but I agree with you. It is. I don't think it's a cope. They would not be able to do it. The stuff that they're doing now is just more, in your face, mask off. Yeah. No, it's not even like that. Not the meme stuff aside, I mean, like the deportation increasing year after year and whatnot. Every Democrat president has done the same. It's just that it was a lot more mask on, let's say. It was the human face type nonsense. Meanwhile, what Trump is doing is just a lot more, I guess, unabashed, or they're not trying to do the PR for it. They're just pushing it
And
through.
larger leaps, yeah. Reagan-like leaps,
Exactly.
Reagan would not exist without we have a whole episode on this, without the Democrats that preceded him. But he was the one that pulled the plug and did, fully dedicate the United States, at least compared to the United States he found himself leading before into a more, staunch, radical free market bullshit, blah, 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 blah shit. Now the same thing is happening, which is, again, is inevitable with the accrual of capital. It fucking reproduces. Both as capital, but also as the state which represents capital. Here, I don't know. I mean, some of those things to an extent are addressed with fucking camps. But even if we like to be like very historic about this or some shit and have direct representations, the camps, for example, during World War II and so on, they didn't like produce jack shit, like very little for like the local region. I don't even know, even if they succeed with the camps, like this cannot offset just how much you're losing. And I'm talking completely soulless. This cannot offset just how many benefits for even big capital you're losing by kicking everybody out. That's not quote unquote legal. It is a big negative step just on the topic of what role ICE will play in it and how radical the boot will step, how strongly the boot will step. Only time will tell. We got to get JT out of that fucking country.
Absolutely.
But now over to some decent Americans, some chill Americans,
exist.
white boy jihad Americans. Okay. Start us off with your hot takes on a man who, without an H, would have a very stereotypical Yugoslav name, by the way, and that's Zoran.
I love it. My favorite about him is the sheer meltdowns of conservative Americans or like the Zionist AIPAC aligned people or any sort of associated ghouls. They would come out and they post, for example, what New York City is going to look like, and they start doing these like Iran before the Islamic Revolution type meme photos almost. It's like, now there'll be. I unironically saw this thing where I believe this was a congressperson. I would need to double check, but I believe a congressperson was like one of Zoran's rallies had people handing out hijabs. This is unsettling and like a threat to our democracy, blah, blah, blah. And what it was these like bandanas, and they had stitched onto them bicycles, buses, bus cards, like basically things that are associated with his platform or program. And it's so clearly a fucking bandana. But the intention there is trying to fucking... Like either you're intentionally just an asshole trying to do this propaganda game, intentionally lying, I mean, which is bad enough as it is, or you're so fucking ignorant, which I don't know which one is worse, because you're supposedly a congressperson, you're supposed to, or some pundit at least, I don't remember which one was. Regardless, there's a bunch of other ones. For example, they put the Statue of Liberty, who's already, by the way, very covered up. They put her in a burqa. And they're like, this is the future.
Not the burqa.
Yeah, exactly right.
Not the burqa. Like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
Which one is the most unhinged? I mean, that's classic Islamophobia.
Yeah,
But now they have AI art, so they don't have to pay some kid that probably doesn't want to do it to paint on burqa on top of the Statue of Liberty. Dude, the dumbest one by far is I have videos of him eating with a fork and a knife, and yet in this particular video where he talks about Gaza, he's eating with his fingers. This is to make him feel like, he's one of the ethnics. God damn you, you're not one of the ethnics. I mean, you are. Then fuck you for being one of the ethnics, but also you are LARPing being one of the ethnics. What are you even trying to say with this? What kind of a fucking pulling on the smallest fucking dick imaginable are you trying to depict that he's a fake person? Okay, back home he eats this particular way. He doesn't actually like the Mexican cuisine, and yet he went into a Mexican restaurant and spoke in Spanish, not a Latino restaurant, and spoke in Spanish in order to get voters from that community.
And he went to he was in some Desi restaurant or like gathering of some kind, and he was speaking either Urdu or Hindi, and I believe he also speaks a bit of Bangla. But he was speaking other languages, and I saw these like people conservative Americans melt down over the fact it's like, oh, see, he's not American. I'm like, it's un-American to speak another language.
Exactly. We need a slur for single language speakers. Monos. Monos. I like to call them mono. Okay, you dirty mono.
Exactly, yeah.
Monolinguistic, you know.
This is basically what we do with JT all the time.
Hakeem especially. Hakeem, sometimes I sit on the side. I'm like, holy fucking shit, he's about to start crying.
No, don't. I'm never that mean to JT. I love him.
Of course.
I sit and I pet him and I curl my fingers around his lovely hairs, and he lets me touch him inappropriately.
But yeah, for you as a Muslim dude, like it's I know, but let me just ask. Are you like obviously offended and obviously cringing? Though I think you're above it to even be offended. You expect this from them, so I don't
that's
think it
where
touches
I feel.
any nerve. But are you disappointed by the lack of originality? Like, it's just 9/11
racism
shit.
hasn't developed since
It's
the War and Terror era, like early 2000s racism. It's you know, when the first installment of a series of movies is like the best one, and then they try to recapture with a remake, and then just the magic's not there. That's what this racism feels like, right? It's so lazy and boring. And I say this as a professional racist myself. You have to be innovative with your racism, but it's like stupid shit. Like, oh look, he's not civilized. He's eating with his hands. A meal that can be very easily eaten with your hands. By the way, what do you eat burgers and fries with, my guy? Right? Like a stupid thing. And then they call him Little Muhammad, despite the fact that his name is not that. What are the silly things? The Cuomo supported by DoorDash ads where they artificially enlarged and darkened his face and made his beard bigger. So I guess to try to make like, ooh, scary brown man.
I didn't see that one. What the fuck? Okay.
It's just very, very silly things that they're doing, and it's so lazy. And any idiot who'd fall for this kind of stuff, any person who's this ignorant to that can be swayed by this form of very lazy propaganda, is a person who's already, like, they're preaching to the choir. That's my point, right? The only people who this kind of racism or very lazy, boring propaganda works on is people who are already on your side. There's some, I don't remember who I was listening to, but somebody mentioned a very good point where it's like Cuomo or these other quote unquote, people in the running or were in the running, they're not mobilizing their base in any significant way, right? They're just kind of preaching to the choir. Meanwhile, Zoran was bringing forward various proposals that actually engage with people who otherwise would not have even voted. He is engaging a mostly youthful base, and also what I love is when he went. We're gonna get to the Socdem cope of all of this soon. Don't worry, we're Marxists at the end of the day. We know the pointlessness of all of this. There's good that comes out of it, but we're gonna get there. But that being said, compared to all the geriatrics in American leadership and American politics, seeing a young man be able to walk around. Is genuinely so fun. Like, just unironically so refreshing to see out of an American political whatever, like any sort of political spectacle, right? Even if it is a spectacle.
Being able to reply to a question in 3 seconds is the most impressive thing that I haven't been able to find anywhere on American political coverage in the last 10 years since I've started to an extent looking at it, right? The man can actually speak, okay? Can actually respond to a question without turning it into another question.
Like, from the days of the fucking kitchen debate with Khrushchev, up from then until now, I've not seen a single instance in which they don't give like a canned there's a phrase in English called the politician's answer, and that perfectly encapsulates this fucking it's a non-answer, right? It's a canned phrase. You just you get this media training to shoot it out at a moment's notice, but there's no fucking material substance there, and it's meant to be as like diplomatically neutral and I don't know, like softened in edges and perfectly, like it's like a smooth turd. It's supposed to just go out easy. For like a media pundit, like soundbite. It's so fucking stupid.
Yeah,
right?
and there's even data to back up exactly what you're saying. Like, I'm looking at graphs right in front of me right now. We're going to touch on CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC, okay? When it comes to their coverage of my boy Zoran, and here I'm not intentionally mispronouncing his name in a disrespectful way. I'm calling him a fellow Yugoslav, okay? Exactly right. So it's the most respectful I can be. So yeah, I'm looking at CNN coverage of Zoran's campaign, and over 65% of what they covered when it comes to his campaign is not rent and housing, is not groceries, and his socialized grocery plan is not childcare, is not transit, is not him making it a sanctuary city from Trump's ICE policies. On CNN, 65% is Israel and anti-Semitism.
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
Fox News is 70% Israel and anti-Semitism. And on MSNBC, it is 65% Israel and anti-Semitism. You guys expected something else? Got you right there.
I genuinely, anybody listening to this, I dare you. I will pay you $1,000 if you can find a single anti-Semitic statement made by this man. Like the amount of, unironically, he has also underwent a certain amount of media training, and he's also fairly charismatic and media savvy enough. And he's also young. He knows how to communicate this kind of stuff, right? He's not raised in the ossified, political bureaucracy of the United States from before. So he knows how to speak, but there's no the reason that they say, for example, he's anti-Semitic is because he dared to say that he would not go on his first international visit as the mayor of New York. He's not even. This is a fucking local position. This is not a federal fucking thing, right? He's not going to go to Israel.
Israel should be a civic, secular society and not a fucking ethno nation.
Not even this. That was not the bit that they got him. That they were offended at. The bit was when they were like, okay, where would you the first international visit be? And every single one of them, genuinely, I don't know.
I watched like 20 of his interviews afterwards. Guess which question is
he gets all the fucking
every
time.
Single time.
Yeah,
every single time.
Yeah, dumb.
And they're obviously the his opinions on a Jewish state and on Israel and so on.
The opinion of the vast majority of the youth of the United States.
Of course. Yeah. But come on, Hakeem. Someone who has never ever said something anti-Semitic. Who is running for a political candidacy, is someone who is constantly asked that particular question.
Yeah.
While other candidates who, let's say, might not look like him are not asked. So the direct implication, and here I'm doing a cliche, but it needs to be mentioned, the direct implication is that all Muslim people are inherently anti-Semitic, which is, by the way, the ultimate Zionist pitch to the United States ever. Therefore, whenever you interact with a person, a practicing or non-practicing Muslim, right, you gotta ask them whether they want to kill every single Jew that has ever lived, which is so fucking Islamophobic and quite literally racist. And yet, all of these media talking heads that have made half of their career, especially on, liberal media, when it comes to standing strong for non-class-based intersectionality and protecting the voices of minorities and always looking at it from their perspective, always maintaining that stereotypes should be avoided, etc., are triple downing on asking a Muslim dude 24/7 if he hates Jews.
It's not that they're asking; they're being told to do it because these are all controlled platforms and outlets. None of these have any sort of journalistic integrity or independence, and the reason they are is because they're entrenched interests that are supported by the Zionist lobby in one side, and also by certain politicians who have a directed interest in trying to ostracize him or take him away from his fairly substantial also Jewish base of support that exists within New York, right? And this is not an anti-Semitic point. This is the fucking joke of this entirely. The reason that these people, these outlets, keep coming at him on the question of Israel is because the Israel lobby generally has more or less captured the entire American political scene, not because Israel, stands on top and controls everything in the universe and whatever the fuck, but because there are very clear material interests that Israel serves for American foreign policy and capital, and it's a symbiotic relationship which they allow to happen. And this is just the latest expression of it, and the easiest way of sinking you in the United States up until now, by the way, up until the loss of until Harris and Biden lost the previous election, the single thing to sink your campaign, to sink your political career, was resistance, or even not even resistance, but neutrality on the Israel issue, right? Not even being necessarily against them, but even being neutral to them, right? What would sink you until now, right? And this is why it was so significant. His victory is a sign of what's to come, right? In the future, you'll only see more and more political candidates who will manage to achieve victory in these elections despite their, I guess, still fairly nominal resistance to Israel. Or not even resistance, but like lukewarm statements even, right, on Israel. Then eventually this will snowball into something greater, inshallah.
Absolutely. It's a 100% fucking snake eating its own ass.
Absolutely.
Because no fucking politician even needed to say anything about Israel up until relatively recently, except something that would never even be covered, which would be like, okay, whatever, because it's quote unquote a given. But as Israel progresses in its genocide, as more and more people are dissuaded from Zionist talking points, there will be, as you beautifully put, more and more even political figures, activists, and so on, that just outright refuse to be like Israel is based, which will then force the media to ask that even more regularly and more regularly and more regularly, which will piss people off even more, which will dissuade them. They're shooting themselves in the foot.
People
they don't have any other
full
choice.
Of shit. Why are you talking? Why do you have these answers, like these pre-practiced answers, where you're automatically saying, "Oh, but no, Israel, I'm going to go to Israel. Israel." Like, people who see through, people are not that stupid, right? You just look like you're bought out. Oh my God.
Yeah. And it will become the opposite of what, again, you beautifully put. Like, that was before the Kamala campaign. That was something that, would make you unelectable if you said it. No fucking haypack money, let's be fucking honest. But also because of the Zionist stigma inside of the United States. As time is progressing, it will again become a thing that makes you unelectable, but in the other way around. Inshallah. If you wholeheartedly and fully support Israel, Inshallah. Because there's going to be millions upon millions, which already exist, and that deeply, deeply hurt the Kamala campaign. Millions of people that will, no matter how much they agree with your platform, no matter how much they like your smile or whatever the fuck, if on that particular point you stand with Israel, I would never vote. I would absolutely never vote, right? And I think millions of people share, and that number will just increase.
Yeah, it's true. What's it called? The polling showed it was, 32%? When you break down the reasons for why people didn't vote for Harris, 32% of it was because of the genocide in Palestine. Now, 32%, that is a fucking ridiculous percentage for an international issue. Americans are super insular. They believe in American exceptionalism to the T, right? They don't care about what happens outside their borders. So this is like more than significant. It's extraordinary. It's such a significant, one thing that I'm going to say before we move on to Zoran's platform and the Sokdem cope of it a little bit. The funny thing that Cuomo said in that, all the mayors were standing and they had that conversation, that roundtable almost conversation, where it's like, what would your first international visit be? Cuomo says, with the rise in anti-Semitism and what's going on in the international situation, I would go and visit the Holy Land. I would go and visit Israel. If you cared about Jews and you're running for the mayor of New York, wouldn't you logically go to Jews in New York? Wouldn't you visit their synagogues and their workplaces and their communities? Isn't that the most logical? And New York has this New York is a unique part of the world. It's not like it has a significant and well-entrenched Jewish community that has their own cultural tendencies. They have their own schools and I believe even their own hospital services and taxi services and stuff like that for the highly religious ones. But even the liberal Jewish ones or Reformed Jewish organizations and communities, those are the people that you'd go to. And that was Zoran's answer. He was like, I would consider myself I would stay in New York City, and when it concerns Jewish people, I would want to go and meet Jewish people in their communities, visit their synagogues, make sure that they have a safe existence and are taken care of, whatnot within the 5 boroughs, where the fuck New York, however New York is set up. That was the actual correct answer. That's the one that resonates with people. It's the one that rationally makes sense. But that was considered to be anti-Semitic. Generally, it's fucking Orwellian. I hate that fucking term, but it really is.
Yeah.
The fucking. Anyways, let's get to his program a little bit. I'm gonna go through it just very quickly, and then mention details afterwards. But we'll have a little interlude about what is so social democratic about this? And social democratic is not a good thing. It's like liberal. That is a slur in these parts. Even though he is a good man, he seems like he has a good heart. I believe in his sincerity, not lineage. That's not a good, but like his father and his own political, his father's and his own political perspectives are good. When you've heard him speak, quote unquote, off the record, he comes off as not fairly, much more radical than his like political public image. To use like internet speak, he is hiding his power level, not in a way that like Bernie wasn't, right? Bernie is just what he was. He may have been radical many decades ago when he was in his youth, but now he's just an establishment politician that has like social democratic policies that he likes, right? And he's thoroughly entrenched in the fucking straitjacket of American politics that he can't even break out of it, despite the fact that he is part and parcel of it. He was so fucking popular they couldn't have done anything to him aside from kill him, but he's so fucking old it doesn't matter anymore. But when it comes to Zoran, young, dynamic, charismatic, I believe he's well-meaning. His program focuses on a few things. The first one is housing, where he wants to freeze the rent using already entrenched policies that can be pushed through to freeze rent or stabilize rent at the very least. He wants to build affordable housing, create a scheme for going after landlords that don't take care of the properties that they rent out, or generally bad landlords. Safety things regarding community safety rather than policing. Affordability when it comes to these grocery stores, bus fares being free. Certain childhood and education benefits, so childcare, baby baskets, schooling, and of course climate policies. And the way that this was going to be done is through leveraging the capital mobilization ability of the state of New York, of course, or New York City specifically, but also through increased taxation on the absolute wealthiest in New York, as well as certain corporations. Well, I'm going to get to all of this. Where is the social democratic cope in this? It's fundamentally this, right? We are not against running in elections as Marxists, right? Lenin made this very blatantly clear. Mao emphasized this point. Castro made this point even more beautifully. At certain points, though, you are kind of barred from any significant engagement. The United States is not at that point yet. A person with quote-unquote radical perspectives can get their foot in the door, but they don't get very far. Zoran, if he wins, will be the furthest that the United States has seen in quite like probably a century, which is promising. But also the edges of the system are very clear. When you exist in any sort of bourgeois government, it doesn't matter what kind, if it's parliamentary or like liberal, public, whatever the fuck, you are limited in what you're able to do because the very nature of the state exists to protect and perpetuate capital. If you're against capital, then you will sink. How will you sink? You will be either completely set out from the political system through endless bureaucratic and legal challenges, which is what they're trying to do against Iran right now. They're even trying to deport him, claim that they'll revoke his citizenship and deport him. That's one thing that's going on. Another thing is that they'll mobilize the private media, which is all media in the United States, owned by the richest people and corporations, against him, which is what's being done. Every single media source is smearing him, outright lying about him. Moreover, the richest or most influential corporations and communities and organizations and people will leverage their wealth in order to lobby against him, advertise widely in the city against him by spreading lies. The DoorDash shit, for example, as well as try to put roadblocks through bureaucratic or legislative procedures for whatever he will try to push through. This will basically render what he tries to do either limited or ineffective. He won't be able to get very far. When he won't be able to get very far, then it will be people will turn around and kind of point to this and be like, look, he's ineffectual, his policies are nonsense, socialism has failed, even though he's not really instituting anything socialist in his programs. Socialism is not government does stuff. Much more importantly, though, the ruling class and the forces that be will try to limit the effectivity or effectiveness of what he does by mobilizing other working class people against him. And how do they do this? A perfect example of this is when Allende, in the early 70s, there was a massive strike of transportation workers, and this was sponsored by the CIA in the United States, of course, and reactionary forces within Chile, because they want to cripple the Chilean, socialist Chilean government, Allende's government. So they refused to transport anything food and fuel and supplies and whatnot. They want to cause crazy shortages all over the country to do these things that they always do. Then turn around and say, socialism always fails, despite the fact that they can't influence the fact that transportation is not occurring. There's a huge strike going on, and it's sponsored by the largest and most powerful military nation on earth. And also they brought, military ships off the coast of Chile to just kind of intimidate the government, being like, you're not going to hit the people who are striking, you're not going to do anything to them, because otherwise we're going to use this as pretext to, overthrow you more directly. Allende and his government managed to get around this through the Cybersyn program, where they did intelligent economic and organizational planning through computers. It's a fascinating episode of history. We should probably do a dedicated episode on it. I believe the Proles of the Roundtable have done an episode on it, which I highly recommend as well. But yeah, the same kind of thought, sponsoring or mobilizing working class people generally, or people of petty bourgeois origin who have significant play in the system, to get in the way of any sort of progressive policy or beneficial policy that you try to enact. What I'm trying to get, the point I'm trying to get at is, we're happy that Zoran exists. We're happy that his platform so far is surviving and seems to even be in the course for winning in the end. But we need to be very cautiously optimistic about how far it can go, number one. And number two, the point of us running in elections isn't just to win and put in social democratic changes that will be rolled back the next fucking election after they deport the guy, put him in prison on trumped up charges, kill him, or set up 1,000 legal or bureaucratic barriers so he can't get his stuff through. The point of it is to show the working class, generally, that the involvement in these elections will always bring us up to a wall. There's a clear hard limit on how much we can achieve, and the subsequent step is to, what we've discussed before, building dual power institutions. I don't want to always jump to the revolution point. The United States is not ready for revolution in any shape or form. But yeah, dual power essentially, which is the logical endpoint. What would a
but in order for them to realize the limitations of people like Zoran, we need to have them in administration, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which in the United States absolutely never happens. So
Yeah.
even from that perspective, it could be a positive. Please continue. Apologies.
No. That's an excellent point. And like I'm so excited. I have nothing to do with the United States. I've never been there. I most likely will never visit, probably for not many years, if not decades. I don't have any sort of attachment to that country in any way. But I see him as a politician compared to the vast majority of politicians I compare, for example, my home country, Iraq, or the politicians that I see who are on the international stage, particularly of, for example, European politics or North American politics. Like, this guy is fresh, is new, and is trying to actually do something. You can't but help root for him, right? Not only on the political side, but just because of his the way that he presented his platform and whatnot. He's not.
I'd vote for him. I'm saying,
absolutely.
I think I've only wanted once in my life. I'd absolutely vote for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I, as Ugopnik, not as Deprogram, if any New Yorkers are listening, absolutely believe you should do so as well.
Likewise, I agree. Yes. That's my mayor, even though I'm not. Exactly right. Dude, the votes in Iraq. Oh my god, dude, voting in Iraq is the fucking funniest shit. It is the funniest shit. Do you know what sometimes happens? You'll go and you'll do the stupid thumb and you sign, you drop your ballot, and then you'll see the fucking ballot, the box where they put the ballot, they put it on the fucking side of the building. Like, nobody's watching and nobody's of course, you know why, right? Because it's completely And then afterwards, we just by accident lost 26,000 votes for this particular small district in this city, which has people who we know will vote against the guy who's incumbent, who is
Or there's a black brand new G-Wagons outside of the voting place, and they're just obviously impoverished people entering and exiting that truck, and then going to vote. They're getting the actual thing signed, the actual voting thing, the voting paper, and then they come back and enter the same G-Wagon again, and then leave with a big smile on their face. It's a fucking...
In Argentina, there was that where it's like, come and vote for this far-right neoliberal cunt, whatever, and then they give them a Coca-Cola, a glass bottle of Coca-Cola, or they give them a sandwich. And
sandwich.
Yeah, the sandwich.
In the Balkans, that's what we refer to, like people that have their vote bought out. Sandwichari, like they're sandwich people. That's,
exactly right. Yeah, it's the funniest shit, dude. A couple of this is almost 10 years ago now, but it made big news because it was so much more blatant than even the regular blatant voter manipulation. By the way, this happens in the United States too. Don't get it twisted. This happens in the quote unquote free, and transparent electoral systems in Europe and whatever the fuck. It's all nonsense. It happens everywhere. But this happened in the central west part of Iraq. Where a community that votes a particular certain way against what the central government wants and all the greased hands have agreed to, who's going to be in the leadership, that when it came time for them to have their polling done, all the water pipes and sewage systems were sabotaged in that particular community, so that there was great flooding all over, so you couldn't even drive to the polls or get to the polls in any sort of way. And any of the votes that were already dropped not polls, excuse me, the votes that were already dropped were basically ruined in the flooding, right? It's paper and paper boxes. So yeah, it's fucking jokes. Anyways, let me do a quick rundown of I recommend people read his platform. Genuinely, it's fairly well written. It's in fact the only decently I've had the misfortune of going through certain American politicians' political platforms because I try to stay informed on the people who bomb my country. And this is the first one and only one that I've seen that is actually well written and has detailed information on how they're gonna do the stuff that they want to do and so on and so forth. I remember Clinton's a couple of years ago, and it was a joke of a fucking website. They had the fucking the fact checking thing, which was called fat checking, and it was just pictures of Trump eating or something. It's childish. Anyways,
oh Lord.
What would a proper... So let's say Zoran he puts on his Mao's third worldist hat, all right? And he
takes over New York, and then he's like, we're taking New Jersey.
Exactly.
We're liberating New Jersey. We're installing a puppet government.
He's what's it called? He supports the joint dictatorship of the oppressed people of the third world. All right.
New Jersey, exactly.
Exactly. He's supremely base Maoist. He gets on the ballot. All right. And he tells them, number one, the housing. He says he'll freeze the rent. And this is just so that rents will be stabilized. This is the thing, though. This stuff that needs to get through City Hall or other bureaucratic halls. This is stuff that can very easily be stopped in any measurable, quote-unquote, democratic system. That's why these democratic systems are bullshit. You can staff the endless amounts of bureaucratic offices with people who will just not push shit through and be like, oh, well, this is what democracy is like, right? Nothing gets done. Nothing happens. Consult the graph. Nothing ever happens, right? Freezing the rent is not what you can do. I'm assuming, by the way, this is not within the confines of the United States. I'm saying this is in the confines of something like you're in China or in Cuba or whatever the fuck, or in Vietnam, let's say. Instead of freezing the rent, then you would have actual political and legal consequences for people who do speculation on rent. That what this means is that the government is, assuming you still have a market system, the government, the socialist government, would put in a program where they analyze what is expected of the current inflation level, how would you bring it down actively, and how would you prevent speculation on rent with that what's it called, housing. Fundamentally, this would mean that people would not be allowed to have housing conglomerates. You would not have landlords who have 20, 50, 100, 600 units under the fucking name, because that means that they're using this only for speculative purposes in order to make money. This would then need to be outlawed. If you would do that, then you would not need to freeze the rents, right? But this is a question of expropriation. People are like, oh, but how could you expropriate? There are legal loopholes and whatnot. The United States expropriates shit all the time. Just ask any Native American. If you want to expropriate shit, you can, and you can make a legal framework for it, right? And you can make these motherfuckers swallow it too. If you want to be nice, then you can give them some below market price, bounty for it. But this is a possibility to do. Affordable housing is another thing that he wants to do. Affordable housing is great. You can mobilize the capital, generating possibilities of the city or the state. And have these rent-stabilized apartments built through unions or whatnot. Fabulous, fantastic. Problem is that zoning issues. He'll absolutely get into conflict with zoning issues because New York is not... The majority of New York, or at least a good chunk of New York, is not owned by the state of New York or the city of New York. It's owned by private interests who can then use and leverage their interests in order to prevent building affordable housing. So this affordable housing will be relegated to like the outskirts of the city or far away from where all the employment opportunities were. This will then re-entrench like the known issues of quote unquote projects in the United States, where you'll have affordable housing become kind of hubs for lower income people without much economic opportunity, which will then resort to crime because that's the only way that they can support themselves, so on and so forth. The only way that you can do this is the same way as I mentioned before. Zoning laws need to be subordinate to the affordable housing project, meaning that, of course, yes, we have zoning laws, but if there is a, what's it called, like an economic calculus that's done that says that building in this area that your private interest doesn't want would be economically beneficial or socially beneficial, then we'll push it through regardless. And this is something like that would be essentially rubber stamped. Hey, this is also utopian. How could you do this? There's legal frameworks for doing this. Again, the capitalist private United States government does override zoning laws all the fucking time. There's even a term for it that I forget right now in English. Eminent domain, I think, is what it's called. Yeah. But basically, if the government thinks that it's something that they want to do, then they'll fucking do it. A perfect example of this is the pipelines they build over, again, Native American territory, Native American reservations. And not to keep beating this dead horse, but there are legal frameworks that you can push through if you really want to stop being stop existing in the liberal brain rot of thinking, oh no, we need to have there needs to be the paper. Oh, I need the paper.
Yeah, the papur.
Yeah, exactly. If there's no papur and there's no ink on it, I can't come to the fucking paper. Then we can't. There are ways of doing this, right? Moving on.
I love you so much.
Habib, I love you too. The cracking down on bad landlords thing is a cute idea, but it kind of like if you do the first thing I said, where you kind of break the ownership right of what's it called of speculative landlord ownership. I mean, you won't need to do this. By the way, you can do something very interesting and something that the Chinese government does, which is you can't own several apartments for speculative purposes. The housing is for living in, not for speculation and for profit. If you have all this excess capital that you can invest, then you can invest it in, guess what? Government mandated and guided productive forms of investment, meaning either manufacturing or economically productive forms of infrastructure. You can use these people who have these landlords with all this excess capital. You can take away their homes. You can give them some sort of like bounty for it, and then afterwards you can basically tell them, hey, we're also building all this other housing. You can have some minor stake equity in this if you would like, and as a result you'd end up getting some sort of profit from it subsequently. And this is a way that you can still benefit from your fucking capital, or we can just expropriate it and put a bullet in you. I mean, both are options, right?
Without the bullet, that unironically happens in Europe all the time. So it's not even that like unhinged.
It's not even a socialist policy. I'm saying are not radical. These are simple solutions that you can make. But I understand why he can't do it, because he's already his small suggestion of what's it called, possibly giving a slap on the wrist for quote unquote bad landlords who have leaky houses or apartments without fucking proper sewage systems. They're up in arms over this. Imagine if the things that I suggest. Regardless, another thing that he mentions is the community safety thing. This is a much bigger overriding question. The idea is basically that the police should not be doing the job of psychologists and social workers and so on and so forth. And as a result of this, he wants to create like a department for community safety that would go and deal with people who have, for example, drug addiction or domestic, not violence, but domestic altercations, this kind of stuff, right? Homelessness and whatnot. Police shouldn't be going to these, sure. But one way of not even needing a community safety department, or of course you need one, but to reduce the need for American police carrying out all the cancerous things that they do. Number one is to completely reorient them from like complete re-education, top down. This point is a little bit more quote unquote utopian. This can only be done in a firmly social system. You can't do this in any form away in the American system. But re-education of the police, of course, defunding it and reallocating its purposes, and also creating this community safety concept or idea at the same time. I don't want to dwell too much on it. I think we have done an episode on police, right? I'm fairly certain we have.
That would be crazy if we didn't.
Chat, whoever's the people listening, check for us and let us know. Let's get to something a bit more, fixable. It's the city-owned grocery stores. This is a very good point that he has, where he wants to make, as mentioned, city-owned, where they would keep prices low because they're not central
really
profit.
Big fan.
Yeah, likewise. They would make these grocery stores not have to pay any land rent or property taxes, and then they'll, as a result, have lower prices, which then they'll be able to kind of pass on to the consumers, and they would have also inflation-controlled goods and whatnot. It's a very good idea. Do you know what else was a very good idea? How about you just make a law where you enforce what's it called, inflation caps on private businesses, where you say like, no, right now I'm fixing the price. The only price that you can have is 2.2% inflated on this particular set of goods. And if you don't like it, then you're gonna get fined like the $40 million a day or whatever the fuck, right? And the people again, oh, this is utopian. How could you possibly do this? Reagan did this. Reagan fucking did this. Was it Reagan or Nixon? I can't recall. I believe it was Reagan. But during the inflation crisis in the United States of that era, of course, there's price gouging on everything, and Reagan just put in he fixed the prices. And guess what? If a far right politician, a president of the United States, can do this, a center left guy in like political image, let's say, can more than do this as well. This is something that, of course, this is outside the speculative possibilities of the position of mayor in the United States, plus minus. There's also an asterisk there. You can really do it if you wanted to. There are ways that you can create a legal framework, but that's what you fucking do, number one. And number two also is to create a system, which is kind of one of the things that they want to do, a centralized system of warehouses and distribution and whatnot, so you don't have the anarchy of the market, which jacks up all the fucking prices. You can have kind of more streamlined, People's Republic of Walmart type of thing, which is something that can be done. Another thing that he wanted to do, I think we're going to just finish on this, there's not too much more to say, is the free buses. I believe New York did a test run 1 year or something in certain areas where they did have this, and it generated economic benefits, and it was a good thing just in general. And this is something that, of course, what they're trying to do now. They want to make it as a proper program where they eliminate fares on every city bus, make them, faster and more on time, build priority roads and whatnot, all this kind of stuff, so that New Yorkers can get to where they need to with a public transportation system. Americans, I know this sounds a bit out of this world, but yes, public transportation is a good idea. You don't need your Ford Raptor 4000 or whatever the fuck it's called that kills 700 children every week. Because you can't see them. You can have a bus that'll take you from place A to B, especially in these dense urban networks where you can't even fucking find parking. I don't really have like a socialist, alternative to this, because the socialist alternative is to just invest in the infrastructure, which is what they're doing. But one way of doing this would be that it would be city owned and maintained and run. Unions would be directly involved, so on and so forth. But yeah, it's a very, very good idea. I'm sure if I were to read into the the nitty gritty, that's the American saying, of what he wants to do, then we'll be able to find out certain things that would
Belgrade, Serbia has free buses. What the fuck? This is so not difficult, with all due respect. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, I know. Habibi, you don't need to go to all over the world. There are parts of the world where you have like flooded sections. Dude, Venice has buses, not buses, water shuttles. For fuck's sake. Like, there's way bigger issues than just getting a fucking bus, a technology from the fucking 1930s, right? Yeah, my God. It's a fucking joke.
It's surreal.
Yeah, the other ones that I don't really want to get, this is the childcare stuff, baby baskets, K-12. This is his Gaddafi era, clearly. I love it. I don't want to dwell too much on it. It's a very good idea. The way that a socialist system would do this would be that it would be city-owned, daycare, and it would be... funded. The amount of economic benefit that this would generate and jobs it would generate would greatly offset the price in the end. There's a calculus you can do there. And again, these are not necessarily socialist policies. What is a socialist policy is the opposite of what he wants to do, or not the opposite, but something much greater than what he wants to do, which is just tax corporations and the 1%. And that means that people making over $1 million a year or something would get a very small tax, some 1 or 2% or something. Or maybe slightly higher. I don't remember the exact details.
2.
Was 2%? All right, yeah.
Oh no, sorry, it's 2 on companies. No, 2 on them. 2 on them.
Regardless, what he wants to do is he wants to increase taxes slightly. The corporate tax rate in New York is 7% or something. It's ridiculously low, and he wants to increase it to 11 or 11.5%, the same as in New Jersey, these are ridiculously low business. This is ridiculous, right? Like, on paper, we pay more corporate tax in Iraq, on paper, of course. In reality, corporations in Iraq pay no tax. But on paper, they pay more taxes. What I would say instead is, because people say, oh no, if you were to tax them 1 extra percent or whatever, there will be capital flight and people will leave. Do you know what people can move? What's it called? Money from bank accounts. What they can't move is factories and businesses and offices and stores and merchandise and warehouses. They cannot move that shit. And do you know what also they can't move in an electronic banking system? Their fucking funds, because you can freeze them if you wanted to through, of course, a legal framework. Now again, oh no, this is utopia. How can you do this? The United States has fucking done this. I'm not even advocating for socialist policy. I'm not saying you put these people, which was the actually objectively good thing to do.
Straight, you know what to do here. I agree 100%.
The cockpit.
Yes.
I'm advocating for the cockpit. No, but I'm not advocating for some a radical solution like that, which is objectively, of course, the correct one and the one that has been shown to work best. What I'm advocating for something is far more sensible and workable, which is you freeze assets for people who refuse to pay their fair share. Their fair share was not 1 or 2 or 10%. It could be increased to 20, 50 fucking percent. It doesn't matter. You can use the funds of these people to generate whatever the fuck you want, because it's the workers who are the ones who actually make this benefit. The very fact that these people are able to get away with any profit whatsoever is privilege enough and goodwill enough. And of course, there's 1,000 previous iterations of this being done by the capitalist government of the United States against people it doesn't like, freezing assets, both financial, investment-wise, and like cash sitting in banks, expropriating businesses or auditing them to make sure that their accounting is correct. By the way, that's another thing that you can do, and that's the easiest way to do it. If you want to make all corporations immediately do what the fuck you want, you can do two things. You can be like, look, here's a new bill. This is a bill that's been that we're approving, and it will be done on a referendum. This is not something we pass through your fucking bought and paid for greased hands bullshit bureaucratic offices. This is going to be a referendum to the people of New York, and the bill is as such. We will increase the tax percentage or whatever, the corporate tax rate, to 52%, hypothetically, right? This will generate this much amount of money, and it will be used through all of this. There will be a transparent system for how we're going to use this money, and it will be used to improve the lives of everyday New Yorkers. Any corporations that refuse to abide by this will be immediately subject to a thorough auditing of all their financial services. If any of their financial, of any of their, accounting is faulty or has clearly been done in order to dodge taxes or whatnot, then they will face immediate expropriation. They will lose everything they fucking have. And then you just put this out to the public. This will be overwhelmingly approved as long as you do the messaging correctly. And then afterwards, if any of these companies tries to fight it in any meaningful way, then you can just pull the fucking auditing thing right away, right? And then you'll find them. And I promise you, every single corporation above a certain size, right, despite all their fancy accounting and legal console, dodges taxes, uses illegal methods of trying to hide away their income, to minimize their profit and maximize their expenses, as well as using just outright false accounts or intentionally opaque accounting to whittle away
intentionally opaque.
Exactly right. Yeah. To make sure that their tax burden, if you want to use that term, is as low as humanly possible. And even that, they don't want to. They don't want to fucking pay this shit. Right? There are ways to do this. And if anybody who would think any of the things I've previously suggested is utopian or impossible or what not to do, there are examples that I could give you, and I have given you already, of it being done in the United States. I'm not saying in a European country where there's a different, like EU countries have certain other policy or mechanisms that make this slightly easier if you really want to, but it's still systems that benefit capital. And even less so compared to Vietnam or Cuba or China, where the good stuff, the real good stuff happens. There's a bunch of other points. We don't need to really get into it. I hope we did a good cover of Zoran. We love the Jihad summer. I look forward to going to the Islamic Emirate of New York, inshallah. And I will greet Zoran with the timed classic greeting of all the Muslims, Assalamu alaikum, and he'll have to reply, wa alaikum assalam. And then afterwards I'll go to every single New Yorker and be like, look, what you're wearing does not go below the ankles, and your hair is uncovered. So we're gonna have to. You must pay what was the fucking tax thing. Exactly right.
And with that being said, our beautiful future communist jihadis, thank you very much for all the support you guys give us. Thank you to all the patrons. If you guys are listening to this and are not a patron, we would really like your support. It allows for the lights to stay on and for our show to get bigger and bigger, and for our show to create offshoots like First Thought that we've been having a lot of fun doing. The money doesn't just stay with us. Obviously, we're trying to build this into a larger platform. So if you're considering supporting for that reason or for just allowing the show to continue, please do check out the link below. We would be very grateful. And in return, obviously, you get a shit ton of benefits, exclusive episodes, every single episode early. You're listening to this 1 week late, right? If you're not on Patreon. Or if you have a live hangout sessions with us, an amazing Discord server, and plenty of other shit. Thank you again to the patrons.
The more you support us, the sooner I can stop working fucking 14 hours. Please, I'm tired, boss.
Absolutely.
I'm tired.
Save our boy from the grind. With that being said, this has been the Deprogram. I'm Yugopnik.
And I'm Hakeem. Now New York slogan shall be Allahu Akbar, America Shaitan Akbar. God is great. America's the greatest Satan. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Holy shit.